We're going to learn about the most important English suffixes. The most basic suffix is simply to add an S or ES to make something plural. S can have two sounds. It can be the sound of S, like in cats, or it can take on the Z sound, like in dogs or kisses. ED can sound like ed, like in handed. AI says A, painted and sanded. It can also sound like the letter D. AY says A, like in played, tamed, and named. Finally, it could sound like the letter T, like in cooked, picked, and packed. ING says ing, like in singing, clapping. AY says A, playing. OUS is pronounced us, and it means full of. OY says oi, so this word is joyous. Joyous means full of joy. ER says so this word is nervous. The letters that are underlined will have their long sounds. Fabulous. IOUS is pronounced eous, and it also means full of, like in serious, obvious, and curious. LY is pronounced ly. This OW will say O, so this is slowly. OLD at the end of a root word has a long O sound, so this is boldly. AR says R, so this is partly. The suffix IVE is pronounced IV with a short I sound. The E is only there to keep the V from being the last letter. This suffix means tends to, so the word active would mean somebody who tends to act. Abusive would be somebody who tends to abuse. Creative would be somebody who tends to create. These two endings also mean tends to. The A in this word will generally schwa and sound more like so this word is negative. This AL will have a broad A sound, talkative and relative. This Z will have a Z sound, positive, repetitive, additive. This suffix is pronounced shun. So here we have option, action, and potion. This suffix is pronounced ation, like in vacation, taxation, mutation. This one is ishin, like addition, tuition, and addition. This suffix has two different pronunciations. The first one is shun, like in passion and mission, and sometimes it's pronounced jun, like in fusion. ER and EST are two suffixes that are used for comparing. So here we have our root word fast. If we want to compare two things, we can say that one is faster than the other. If we want to compare three or more things, we can say that one of them is the fastest. OW says so here we have slow, slower, slowest. ALL at the end of a root says all. So here's tall, taller, tallest. Remember, if you're comparing two things, you use If you're comparing three or more, you use est. EE says E. So here we have green, greener, greenest. Here we have the word happy. Notice that when we add the suffix the Y becomes an I. So here we have happier and happiest. IGH has a long I sound, and the GH is silent. So this is bright, brighter, brightest. OU says ow most of the time. Loud, louder, loudest. EA says E most of the time. Clean, cleaner, cleanest. IR says dirty. Notice that when we add a suffix that starts with a vowel, the Y becomes an I. So we change the Y to an I before we add the or the est. So dirtier, dirtiest. EA most of the time says E, like in clean, but sometimes it has a short E sound, and it does in this word. So this word is heavy. Once again, the Y becomes an I before adding a suffix starting with a vowel. Heavy, heavier, heaviest. OU says ow most of the time. Round, rounder, roundest. SH says sh, and this I will have a long I sound. Shiny, shinier, shiniest. Notice once again that the Y became an I before adding a suffix that began with a vowel. UR says sturdy. Sturdy means strong or well made. Sturdier, sturdiest. Fuzzy, fuzzier, fuzziest. AR says harsh. Harsh means unpleasant, rough, or mean. Harsher, harshest. The suffixes er and or refer to a person or thing that does something or has something. For example, this word is teach because ea says e most of the time. So a teacher is somebody who teaches. Here we have bike, and a biker is somebody who has a bike. Bake, baker. Y at the end of a short word usually has a long I sound. So here we have dry, dryer. AY says A, lay, layer. This O will have the sound of oo, move, mover. Act, actor. While OR has the sound of or most of the time, at the end of a word, it generally sounds just like ER as So we don't say actor, we say actor. AI says A, sail, sailor. The suffix less means without. So here we have end. So endless means something that doesn't have an end. Job, jobless. Somebody who is jobless doesn't have a job. AW says so law, lawless. Lawless would mean without a law. This word could be pronounced two different ways. Using the Z sound, it is the verb use. Here we want the noun, use. So here is use, useless. Something that is useless has no use. Flaw, flawless. Spot, spotless. UE has a long U sound. So here we have clue, clueless. AR says R, harm, harmless. Full, with one L, is the suffix that means full of. OY says oi, so here is joy, joyful. Joyful means full of joy. AW says law, lawful. Sin, sinful. Care, careful. UR says hurt, hurtful. Help, helpful. Somebody who is helpful helps a lot. This O is going to schwa and take on a short U sound. And once again, the OR at the end of a word will generally sound like ER. So this word is color, colorful. Something that is colorful is full of color. This EA will have a long E sound, and the C is going to take its soft sound of S. So here we have peace, peaceful. The suffixes able and ible both mean able. This O has the third sound of O, which is oo. So do, doable. Notice that while this word by itself is able with a long A sound, as soon as we turn it into a suffix, it sounds more like able, because generally in English, we don't accent or emphasize the sounds in suffixes. When sounds are not emphasized, often take on the muffled schwa sound of So we don't say do-able, we say doable. Here is move, movable. This O is going to schwa and sound like and this E is just there to keep the V from being the last letter of the word. So here we have love, lovable. AY says A, pay, payable. Note, notable. This S will take on its second sound of Z, visible. AU says audible. Flex, flexible. So something that is flexible can be flexed or bent. Sense, sensible. Notice that this word ends in an E, but when we add the suffix ible, we drop the E. The suffix al is pronounced ul at the end of a word. Here we have the word bride, bridal. The suffix al means active, so bridal would have something to do with the act of being a bride. AU says this S will have its second sound of Z. Cause, causal. So something that is causal will be part of the act of causing something. OR says floral, formal. Adjectives ending in Y or TY mean the quality of. So right here we have dusty. Remember that a Y at the end of a longer word usually has a long E sound. So dusty has the quality of having dust. IR says flirty, crusty. This suffix is itty, which also means quality of. Vanity. Vanity means the quality of being vain or obsessive or caring too much about your appearance. Sanity. Cavity. Meant means the condition of. So a payment is something that has the condition of paying somebody. Pavement, movement. The suffix ness means state of being. So a person that has good fitness has the state of being fit. Sadness means the state of being sad, and madness means the state of being mad. N means to become, so to lessen means to become less. OLD at the end of a root word, it has a long O sound. So golden means to become gold. This O has the sound of oo, proven. Ick and ickle mean relating to. So here we have rustic, scenic, medical. I'd like to point out that English words basically do not end in the letter C unless they end in this suffix. Now, the rest of this lesson is optional because it might be difficult for younger students. Both of these suffixes are pronounced shull. AR says R, so here we have martial, partial, initial, spatial, essential, and impartial. Notice right here we have the prefix im, which will be covered in the prefix video. These words are also pronounced with shull. Once again, the underlined letters have their long sound. Facial, racial, social. If you found this video useful, please share it with friends who have kids who are learning to read.